My name is Roxy Ndebumadu. I am the founder and CEO of Rox Health Corporation.
My name is Ayode Akinfemiwa. I am CEO and co-founder of Mercury.
Hi, my name is Yusuf Yahya. I'm Sudanese, born in Zimbabwe. I'm the founder of Talum Pay.
My name is Lillian McCoy, co-founder and CEO of Mipango FinTech.
My name is Kwenwi Tawa. I'm the founder and CEO of Baki Beauty.
Hi, my name is Faye Makinde and I'm the CEO of Rika.
My name is Mire Alonga. I'm the CEO and founder of Greenco.
When I think about the habits and the routines that have been most effective for me when maintaining my mental health and my physical well-being, two habits come to mind in particular. The first one is my morning routine. It doesn't matter where I am in the world, on a continent, I always have to start my morning with a Celsius water and Pilates. So even if there is no Pilates studio local, I find that it's a way for me to reconnect with myself and stay grounded, especially as somebody that's being bombarded with decisions all day. Then my nighttime routine, which is a little bit more spicier. I like to make sure that I have holistic products like lemon, ginger, or hot water. And I drink that while I sit and think about how the day went. And I turn my phone on Do Not Disturb. And in that moment, my team knows, please don't call me. And if you do, you're just not gonna get an answer because it's my time to reflect and reconnect and prioritize what's ahead.
Some habits and practices that have been helpful for me to maintain my mental and physical well-being. So first, with mental well-being, I try as much as possible to manage my noise to signal ratio. And essentially what that means is managing the information that I consume, right? Today, social media is both a blessing and a curse because there's so much information that's being thrown at you and sometimes it can be distracting. So for me, I try very hard to limit and set very strict rules around the amount of time I spend on social media. I have very strict rules around notifications that get through to me. And occasionally I just take breaks, right? So weekends, I spend very little time on social media and just try to be present physically. And during the day as well, I limit the amount of time I spend. Doesn't mean I'm completely off, just means that I can manage and focus appropriately and just limit the volume of noise that comes to me versus the signals. On the physical side of things, I try to be active as much as possible. So, try to hit my 10,000 steps daily goal. And also, do intermittent fasting occasionally. That's really helpful mentally as well for me. So yeah, those are some of the practices that works for me.
Splitting my time, my work time and personal time. So earlier in my journey when I had the energy, I would carry work home. But as I kept evolving and growing, I realized that I'm not as effective with the work that I do at home versus the work that I really dedicate to work on during office hours. So for me now is I've dedicated a specific time that I just focus on work and I have to be at the office. So it has to be like a really formal setup. In as much as startups, we don't necessarily have a boss that calls us to report at work at this time and leave at a certain time. But I came to understand that that is important to create a schedule and an environment for yourself that will make you be more productive and more effective than carrying work home and doing it after work hours.
So as a person, I have implemented some boundaries that have allowed me to effectively separate work and my personal life. One key thing is the time I set out for family. So I always ensure that if I've made plans to spend time with family, birthdays, I stick to those, despite having tight deadlines or pressure, because they never stop. And doing this has allowed me to be able to focus on work when it's time for work, but also be present when it's time to be with family. I think also, secondly, I really implement a calendar system, right? Ensuring that in my calendar I have time for alone time for family, and I stick to them, despite having whatever I'm working on before the time for that has been set up for personal time or family time, I put it on pause. I put a timer for them, and then I go back to it. I think one key thing that has helped me in realizing the importance of boundaries has been, when COVID happened, it put things into perspective to me to know that things can go on pause and everything will still be okay. Setting out time for important things is very important. And whatever problems exist today, they would continue to continue if you don't, be intentional about making out times for the things that are really important. And so these are some of the boundaries that I've put in place.
Gratitude as being the cornerstone for everything that I do, and then prayer as well. It kind of just brings me back and reminds me and humbles me on where I am in this big universe, right? So when you remember that, regardless of what societal expectation you have from you, I mean, as sad as it might sound, the only thing we're promised is death, right? We're all gonna die. So how are you gonna make sure that you live a life that in the end of the day, you are happy with yourself, right?
Societal expectations of success can come from lots of different places. For me, that comes from my family, that may come from my friends who are in more traditional career paths, that may come internally from myself and what I thought was going to happen. I try and always keep my why at the center, and the thing that energizes me more than anything is speaking with my customers and hearing the impact that my business and the tools that we're building can have on their business and their growth and their organizations. And so, yeah, I think just having the ability to remember why you're doing what you're doing and how you can impact other businesses will help you kind of when you're not necessarily hitting the traditional career milestones that people might expect you to do. And I think also celebrating those wins. So maybe you're an entrepreneur, you don't get to have a promotion party or celebrate that, but you can celebrate other wins that you see in your business. So being thoughtful about how to do that can encourage you and the rest of your team.
So a wellness activity that has played a key role in the success of my business to date is making out time for team bonding activities, retreats, and team wellness activities. So whether it's going on runs together, going on hikes together, those things have been very instrumental, especially right after COVID. So during post-COVID, it became a hybrid system, some fully virtual. And that kind of created a little bit of gaps and distances between colleagues and team members. And what I found out that was very relevant and useful in helping to keep people close enough to be able to support each other while going through challenges at work has been the times we will set out, once a quarter for team bonding activities, whether it was, going to a yoga class together or going for swimming together or whatever activities we did. Those activities played a key role in ensuring that beyond the work, we were able to have a relationship that we could leverage off of each other during those moments where opportunities where we're able to be vulnerable. Team members were able to be vulnerable with each other, both talking about personal challenges that were going on in their personal life and how it was affecting their work, but then also people willing to put a hand forward to support. Those moments were very integral, especially because at that time, that's when we were getting a lot of projects. And it seemed like, we didn't have enough resources to execute. But what we found out was that people were just working in silos. And so, once we started to work as a team due to some of these activities, we were able to collaboratively succeed on some of those projects. So
African culture, I see most of the people at the core of our hearts are driven by helping others. We are very communal based. Everything we do, you might think about yourself, but there's a big aspect of how can I help the next person. And to me, I'd say this has influenced the innovations that I've worked with and in the sense that you would find that I have a pattern in things that I like to work to work on. It's things that really impact people rather than 100% business motive. So again, we transfer that desire to want to help people into the culture, into our company culture, where product design, marketing efforts, communication, everything speaks. We are here to fix your problem. We are here for you, and it's not as commercial as it should be.
Wow, in thinking about my African cultural identity, I think this is a very interesting question because I'm originally Cameroonian, although born in America, and I spent half of my life in America, and then the other half living around the continent of Africa. And I'm building a business in Kenya, right, which also has very different cultural norms. And I would say a very interesting cultural norm that I've had to learn how to navigate is that people would describe many Kenyans as being culturally passive aggressive, right? Because in their culture, out of respect, people do not want to be too assertive, right? Because they think they're stepping on your toes. And so one of the things I've had to learn is when to temper down my directness and my bluntness, which comes both from my Cameroonian side as well as my American side. We can be quite blunt. And so sometimes if I want to give someone feedback, and especially negative feedback, instead of giving it immediately in a larger group where they may feel like I'm looking to put them down, I will hold on to that feedback and give it to them after the meeting. And then once we've built relational equity, then I would feel more comfortable giving them that feedback in a broader setting, because one of our cultures as a company is being comfortable being uncomfortable with conversations, right? So if I need to give you feedback, I shouldn't feel like I should hold on to my feedback to give it to you later. But it's understanding that when someone is new to this culture, giving that to them immediately may not be the right time. And so that's an example of like how I've had to learn when my culture brushes up another culture, and thinking about our goal here is communication. And so my goal is to be heard and understood, not just to cause harm. And so I've had to learn when to hold back and when to be fully myself.
My African identity influences my leadership style in so many ways, honestly, both good and bad. I think as a Nigerian American woman, I have a lot of audacity. Let's just put it like that. There's a very popular saying when you talk to Nigerians, they say that we have the audacity, meaning that like we just don't care, like we just go for it. And it doesn't matter what happens, like we still have the audacity to dare that we could do anything. And so in my leadership style, that shows up. So when someone comes to me with a problem and they don't have a solution, my audacity shows up in that moment to help them think bigger about themselves and what they're capable of accomplishing in that moment. Because most of the time, those blockers are being presented as a way to grow and stretch you and what you're capable of. So it shows up in my audacity. But then it also shows up in a very principled format, which could be the downside, because that means I could be rigid at times. I could be very true to structure, like we need to do X, Y, and Z in order to get to A all over again. And that might not be comfortable for some people because it's very unwavering and it's very relentless and it's very committed. And so I think my Nigerian culture, the work ethic, the women that I grew up seeing on the sides of the roads with the water on their heads, selling it on the streets, it has inspired me and taught me so much about daring to be great and knowing that nobody is capable of standing in your way of that.